Hi, I'm Marion Hubbard, and today I want to share with you some things that I've learned about bringing passion and excitement into my life, both of which have helped me to feel more fully alive. I was inspired to do this video after watching a conversation with Bill Moyers last week on KPBS. In the interview, Bill Moyers, who has been a broadcast journalist for more than 4 decades, discussed his 1988 video interview series, The Power of Myth, with renowned mythologist Joseph Campbell. I remember this video series well. Although I didn't realize it at the time, watching and re-watching those videos was the launching pad for my personal journey of transformation. The series also became a foundational component for my life's work. In last week's interview, Bill Moyers recalled one of the most meaningful moments in his interview with Joseph Campbell. Bill Moyers said, "Myths are stories of our search through the ages for truth, for meaning, for significance." Joseph Campbell responded, "People say that's what they're all seeking is a meaning for life. I don't think that's what we're really seeking. I think that what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonance with our own innermost being and reality, so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive." So what is it that helps us create this rapture experience in our day-to-day material reality? In answering this question for myself, the first thing that I had to do was make a commitment to being fully alive. That means all experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. For many years, I was leading a functional life where on the surface I seemed just fine. But under that everything's fine veneer, I was carrying around a deep undercurrent of pain, fear, and anger that I shoved down to keep from feeling. As a result, I became like so many other people who were among the walking dead, numbed out, spaced out, and unable to experience life to its fullest. Most of us tend to shy away from discomfort and only want to feel good experiences. Unfortunately, that isn't how life works. If we refuse to feel discomfort, chances are we won't be able to feel the good stuff either. I remember learning this firsthand over 25 years ago. One day I was listening to a radio interview with someone who had survived severe burns. I remembered thinking that that was the worst kind of pain imaginable. I didn't know if I could survive that level of intense pain. Then the very next day, as if there were any accidents, I had a gas oven explosion in my apartment, and I burned my face and both hands. Luckily, it wasn't life-threatening or permanently maiming, but my recovery was excruciatingly painful for some time. I learned from that experience that I was tougher than I had given myself credit for. I also learned that I was not my body. I could endure this level of physical pain and transcend it. After that, I no longer spent an inordinate amount of energy being as fearful about experiencing pain or building my life around avoiding it. While I didn't consciously seek out this life lesson, I was able to use it to learn more about myself and recover a significant piece of my aliveness in the process. This is also applied to psychological and spiritual pain, including past traumas and relationship challenges. When I first went into therapy, I tended to avoid dealing with difficult issues, especially ones that brought up anger, since it felt so taboo for me to feel it, much less express it. But after the first time of letting out the full fury of my rage in a safe therapeutic session, I realized I wasn't going to die or hurt others by letting it out. After that, it became easier to lean into my pain and anger knowing freedom was on the other side. One therapist later described me as like a horse running into a burning barn, and my willingness to feel the intensity of my emotions. Leaning into experiences, no matter how painful they are, has been liberating to me and allowed me to recover a little bit more of my aliveness each time I do it. Now, another point relates to feeling good things. I used to just check things off of my life to-do list without stopping to celebrate significant milestones. In fact, when I graduated from college at midterm, I didn't go back at the end of the spring semester to the graduation ceremony with the rest of my class. I regretted not celebrating that ritual. When I later finished my master's and Ph.D. program, I went through my graduation ceremony, complete with cap and gown, and my support network there to cheer me on. Culturally, we saw the good, the bad, and the ugly converge in the midst of Hurricane Harvey that battered Houston and so much of the Texas Gulf Coast. There were stories of tragedy, of human suffering, mixed with heartwarming stories of heroism and coming together as a community. When we personally and collectively feel this mixed bag of emotions deeply, we experience what it is to be fully human. Now, my second tip for feeling fully alive is to look for exciting experiences. On a collage I made last year, I put a quote that has had so much significance for me about this by Barbara Jordan. She said, "In the morning I say, what is my exciting thing for today? Don't ask me about tomorrow." I love the ritual of getting up in the morning and seeing this quote on my collage. What a wonderful way to start my day. The anticipation of excitement helps create magical moments and synchronicities. It elevates endorphins in my system and makes me feel more passionate about taking on the day. Now, excitement, I have found, begets more excitement. Instead of just isolated moments, over time, finding excitement in even simple experiences becomes a way of being. Now, if you're like me, and you have some days, though, where you have a harder time finding something to be excited about, you may want to make a game of finding excitement in drudgery. I learned how to do this years ago when I worked as a temp at Xerox. I was doing quality control, hour after hour, checking copies against originals. I began to berate myself for taking such a boring job that didn't utilize my talent. Then I heard myself say, "Hey, you said you didn't want to work so hard and you wanted to take more time to meditate. Just think of this as working meditation, where you actually are being paid to meditate." When this came to me, I had a new perspective that changed my whole attitude about that job and brought me joy each time I flipped through my copies. Now, my third tip for feeling fully alive is to purify your physical environment so you can attune to your inner resonance. This includes body purification, eating good food, drinking plenty of water, and exercise. Yeah, I know that's pretty basic, but many people have a hard time with actually living this from inside out. I think it's because they may think of treating themselves well as denying themselves what they really want. But it's not about denying ourselves. It's about aligning to what our body truly wants. Deepak Chopra, speaker and author of Perfect Health, suggested to smokers who want to quit to consciously inhale and feel the smoke fill your lungs. Pay attention to how it feels in your nostrils as you exhale. Notice how every part of your body feels. The consciousness about what you're doing can help you align your actions to your inner self. I know for me, that certainly applies to eating. If I truly want something like coffee yogurt, my favorite, I ask my body if it can handle processing it. Some days my answer is no, and I don't eat it. Other times I get a yes, and I eat it, savoring every single bite without any guilt or regret that taints my experience. Now, another purification of your environment is to create a space around you that reflects your true inner resonance. Do you want to clear the clutter to help you feel more peace? Do you have art supplies or musical instruments that you want to put around you to evoke your creativity? What colors or objects do you want to have around you for inspiration? I love the color of teal, as you can see. When I painted my entire room this color, it made my heart sing. Now, my fourth tip for feeling fully alive is to feel the rapture of being alive in the present moment. This means feeling ecstatic joy and delight of what is in front of you right here and right now. Don't live in the past of some glory days. While it can be fun to reminisce, it is in the here and now that we actually feel. Otherwise, it's just a memory of a feeling. If you live in the past, you may be inadvertently creating sadness in the present moment for what was lost, rather than seeing wonder in current experiences right under your nose. Also, don't live in the future of wishing. That's not where aliveness lives either. It's like keeping joy and delight at the end of a stick, right out of your reach. While it can be helpful to envision building toward your future, feel your aliveness and ecstasy as you move forward. It creates a much richer bridge to your future self and allows you to enjoy the journey along the way. And that brings me to my fifth tip, which is to increase your bliss tolerance. For many of us, rapture comes only in fleeting moments, with long, boring periods in between. But putting our attention towards sustaining feelings of joy and delight for longer and longer periods of time is just like stretching our physical muscles to build a strong and flexible body. Practicing connecting together blissful moments strengthens our ability to feel more comfortable experiencing the rapture of everyday living. Now go out and grab a hold of each experience and savor it. Each time you do, you'll build more capacity for taking in the richness of being fully alive, no matter what you experience.